Masculinity series. Um, and I got a lot of feedback yesterday on part one of the series. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. I think a lot of people got edification out of it. And so now here we go into day two. Going into this part, going into day two, I got a couple things that people wanted me to address in part two today. So I'm gonna kind of hit on those things, and then I'll continue to move on with the series. But I think a lot of people were blessed, and they got a lot out of day one of the series. So, like I said, yeah, shalom, bro. But I'm gonna get the feed up, make sure everything's up and running, and I'm gonna press on. We're gonna get started with day two of this. I'm gonna address, like I said, the first thing I'm gonna address is an issue a sister had. She had an issue with she had a situation. She realized, and it wasn't because of my teachings, but she realized that she needed a man in her son's life. I think it's her nephew or something like that. And she was just saying she realized that she really and what I'm doing, I'm trying to pull it up here so I could maybe read over it. But she just realized how imperative it was to have a man in this boy's life, and she was asking some things she could do. So, like I said, I got some answers. Like I told you yesterday, I'm gonna have some answers today on that situation. Like I said, it's a tough situation. The number one thing you have to do in that situation, though, is pray. Yeah, and what I mean by that is pray that the Most High will give you wisdom, will put the right people in your life, and will help with that situation. Okay, I can't find the question right now, so I'm gonna have to go off memory. But I got a pretty good understanding of what the situation is, and basically what the situation is, she has an older boy, and there's not, she does. I guess she's not married or whatever, so she doesn't have a man in her life, and she's just wondering, well, what do I do to get to get this boy in order, and because this is the critical age, you know what I'm saying? 16 years old, and yeah, shalom, y'all. See all y'all coming in there, but it's the critical age at that age. Like I said, the first thing to do is to pray. The second thing to do is like the second most important priority in your whole life needs to be finding needs to be dedicated to keeping him in situations around men who are success models. Okay, that's like the best way I could articulate that. So, for instance, church. Find a church that is, and it's gonna be hard, but find a church that is more a more masculine church, because what you were saying in your comment when you wrote to me is, you were saying, when you bring him to church, he's totally disinterested. He don't like the Bible. Well, I'm gonna tell you, with me growing up, it was like any man who is who has some masculinity in him. If you bring him up in a church, like at that age, he like instinctually knows, yeah, this ain't my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that. I couldn't, and I felt like I was bad because it was like a conflict in my mind. But when I was 15, 16, 14, whatever, 13 years old, you know, and at that time, I grew up at that age, that was in like 92 to 88 time frame when hip hop was like heating up to its hottest point, as far as hip hop was thoroughly masculine. And then you bring me, my mother would bring me to the church, and everybody, oh, and there's flowers everywhere, and is gay and is homosexual, and it's like, and I'm rolling with dudes in the streets and listening to Black Moon, and it totally conflicted with that. A man with masculinity who is, grounded in the masculinity, who's like, I'm trying to think of the right word. But anyway, just a boy who's growing up and he's kind of masculine, that's gay to him, really. I mean, it's more feminine, so he's naturally not going to take to that. I grew up with my father in my life, so I'd hang out with him. He'd take me places. Like, he'd drive buses, so sometimes I'd go with him. He'd go out to New York City. I'd hang with him, and he was a masculine man, or he is a masculine man. And so we do things. And like my mother, she'd be pushing the church. And so, and not to get off subject, but that's why for you, sister, in that situation you're in, I'll put it to you like this, because I think the dude's 15, 16-year-old. Outside of work, the rest of your free time needs to be spending trying to find stuff for him to be involved in that's masculine, that involves men. Like, and I'm trying to think up some examples, because what I would say as far as getting the word in and having the word taught to him, fine. Because I'm not sure where you live, so you need to find something online, probably some online teaching, somebody teaching online. I know me, the bulk of my teachings are directed at men, because I know you fix the men, then we'll get everything else in line. So most of it's directed at men. I'm trying to make it more masculine so it could be attractive to a young masculine man. You know what I'm saying? But so, and that's what I'm trying to tell you is, initially find something in, biblical stuff. So trying to get that into his head, but also find other activities for him to do. He might be into sports, get into that. There's a bunch of stuff out there. See if he wants to get involved in, like a trade, like working on cars or something like that. What I'm saying is, you gotta get him active doing something. You gotta just search. There might be a camera school, like a media school, where he can be filming stuff. Like anything, that's not, that a man might be interested in. Okay, if you need ideas, just you could hit me up, like you did. But anything but sitting in front of that TV getting poisoned, because it's going to take them in the wrong direction. Okay, that's imperative. All right, hold on one sec. Okay, so I think that kind of addresses that issue for the most part. If I didn't hit good enough, hit me up. Ask me some more questions. But you kind of see the direction I'm going. Be in his life, but you gotta get him involved in some masculine activities, and you gotta begin hitting his mind with some biblical teachings coming from a man, teaching it with authority and all that stuff like that. Because like I said, what I'm thinking back to in my mind is just, I was brought up in church, and all growing up, I mean, I was in church. It was kind of, the streets were trying to grab me, but the Most High was just trying to keep me where he could till he had me to the point where he was going to start using me. But I was out in the streets, and then I'd be in the church, and in my heart, I was like, Lord, I know there's something right about this, but something feels off also about it. And then here, fast forward years later, I just realized, yeah, it was just that the churches I was brought up in, like most people are kind of more directed to women and their feelings. You know what I'm saying? And that it's in these churches, like I kind of went on yesterday, what I brought up yesterday. These churches encourage you to be in your feelings and not to gird up and be sober minded and be watchful and vigilant. They encourage you to kind of let go and ease up. And that, as a man, you can't be that way. As a woman, you need to be that way. I kind of hit on that yesterday. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press with today's lesson, and I'm gonna just kind of go in a little more direct. I'm gonna tell you, I want to bring out one of the. It's funny because a lot of what society pushes, the deceptions this society pushes, is that the worst thing you could do, or is hurt somebody's feelings. Like the carnal sin, the worst sin is to hurt somebody's feelings. Or the worst thing a child could see is her parents or his parents arguing, or some disrespect in the home, like a father being, disrespectful home. That's the worst thing a child could ever see. And I'm going to show you straight up the worst thing one of the worst things you could do for a child. Okay? And I'm going to just get right into it. One of the worst things a child could see is their father getting disrespected. Okay? That's one of the worst things a child could see, is a father not walking in his biblical masculine role, leading the home. Okay? That's one of the worst. Another one of the worst things is just the father not being there. Okay? That's one of the worst things they could see, because they need that model of, this is the role of a man. It's so heavy. I'm talking about, even if the father's there, if he's not walking in his masculine role as the leader of the home, it's going to create issues in that child's life throughout their life. It's imperative. But you don't get told this anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, case in point, I do not like just talking. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna just bring it out through the book. Okay. So let me go to my Bible breakdowns on family. All right. I got a good one here. It's in Ecclesiasticus. I gotta find this verse. But basically, what that verse tells you is it's talking about as a father to your child, saying, don't show yourself to be all friendly to a child. It's saying you should, you know what I'm saying? It says you should be a disciplinarian to them. Okay? Let me see where it's at. I'm going to pull this verse up. All right. I think I got it here. Yeah, I gotta find this verse. Yeah, I was working on something last night. I got an important call last night. You guys will see it later, but I got a pretty big interview coming up, and the person called me late. I guess they just got back in the country, so it messed up my sleep, and I woke up an hour late, you know, so, but we're gonna, like I said, this series is gonna be going for the foreseeable future, so, you know, it's gonna be very edifying. But, all right, here we go. So, I'll just read the verses I have here on these are verses out of Proverbs on child discipline, and it says foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. Okay, he that spared this, that was Proverbs 22:15. Proverbs 13:24, it says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son. Okay, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. Okay, and then, you know, Proverbs 22:6, it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And just real fast, you know, getting slightly off subject, but that role of discipline and knowing when that child is being respectful, a man is wired up to detect that. And just a point to you people who are raising young, you know, your children and young, when you should be disciplining that child when they're learning how to crawl. And I'm not talking about getting a belt and boom. But when the child doesn't do something and they kind of know, go like this. Stop. Look, take your little finger and just tap them. Stop. Go like that. And they know. Because look, they're 2, 3, 4 years old. Stop. It just take this little finger. But then, when that joker, you know, 13, 14, y'all boxing. It's a boxing match between y'all to try to get them to do something. So when you get them under control at that young age, you know what I'm saying? Then when they get older, it's not combat. And I've seen it, you know what I'm saying? And then by the time they turn 18, the world's disciplining them. And you know the way, you see the way these cops are disciplining them. Hopefully it's the taser first, and then they putting shots into them. And you see it happening every other day. What I did when I was raising my girls is whoop them, tell them once, whoop them second, okay? And I'm not some freak show like, and whooping the heck out of them, especially with girls. You tell them, don't do that. I told you not to do that. Boom. You barely even hit them with something, but it hurts. They're so hurt that they fell short of what their father told them to do. It hurts their feelings. And so you don't have to whoop them for pain. And, and like I said, and it's like you have to make yourself do it, because I get lazy with it sometimes, and I got lazy with it. But all in all, my daughters are very obedient to what I asked of them and everything like that. But kind of got off subject. But that verse, and I'm gonna find it, and I'll give it to y'all in the next lesson. But it's Ecclesiasticus. It's a verse in Ecclesiasticus, and it basically says, "Don't be your child's friend. You be their disciplinarian." And if you saw me in my house, according to the world standards, according to Disney World standards, I'm the bad boy. I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy in the movie because, I give a lot of commands to them and all that stuff like that. But what I'm getting at is it's imperative that if you're a man in the house, you got to be the example to these girls. Like I got girls. Or if it's a boy, to the boys, you got to be a masculine example of, so I'm not walking around, hey girls, oh, what are we playing with today? And all this. I'm kind of a hard military type dude around them. Because the shyster, the player, the child molester, the pastor touch and feel. He comes, he talking nice. He being hey girls, how you doing? Some dude come up to my daughters like that. They've said it to me before. They're like, yeah, daddy, he wasn't like you. They were talking about, I think one of their teachers at school or something. They're like, yeah, daddy, our teacher who teaches whatever class it was, he's not like you. He kind of happy and, he's weird, I'm glad y'all see that. You know what I'm saying? Because us men, we are the fathers, we're the first example of the model of man they're going to pick. We're that example. Same thing with if it's a son, you're raising a son. You are the example of the man that they're going to be. The father gives identity. Okay? So if a boy grows up and he sees his mother disrespecting his father, talking down to him, being disobedient to his father, I'm sitting here telling you that is the most destructive thing a child could see. Not a man being disrespectful to wife, shut up woman and all that, all this stuff. That's what this society tells you. Oh, everybody's equal, and they're trying to smear the lines always. You see it in the church, you see it in society, you see it in the Hebrew community. The Bible clearly outlines everybody's role in the family. And then you see people trying to smear them. There's no equality in the Bible. There's rank and structure everywhere. there's roles and positions everywhere. There's no gray areas. Okay? It's clear. It's clearly identified all through the Bible to where you don't have to read into the stuff. But you always see people trying to blur the lines. And I know that in a family, it's imperative that there be rank structure and order, man. It has to be, okay. Hey, shalom, Sister Shantae. I see you put something there. You say, yes, this is discernment that is instilled in them when children are disciplined righteously. Exactly. Yeah, righteous discipline. You do not have to, I don't whoop my kids, but I really don't even whoop my kids at all anymore. It's like, cause now it's to the point where I'm like, so why'd you do that? And that brings tears, back when they were, 3, 4, and 5, cause they say you want to really have that fear and respect of you instilled in them by the time they turn 6 or 7 or something like that. But anyway, yeah, by the time, they've gotten a couple whoopings where I whooped them multiple times, like whack, 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 3 times, whatever. But you don't have to freak out with the belt and break their spirit, but you got to break that spirit of rebellion that's in them, that's in our people. Okay. But yeah, but going back to what I said, it's imperative that whether it's a boy or a girl, that they see you walking in your biblical masculine role as a man, as a righteous head of that house. Okay? Not making stupid decisions. Okay? Correcting people who are off in the house, whether it be the wife or the children, and correcting them righteously and in a balanced way. Okay? Not macho boy. It's like, dude, it's crazy because I'm hearing, like, as I press on with this lesson, I talked to people yesterday, and us men, we get into this Hebraic walk, and we're harping on, boom, we turn to the women, especially if the women were in church, and we're telling the women, you got to clean the outside of the glass. We pushing the outside of that glass being clean so hard because that's the way us men are. We like logical, and we not pushing. We got to get the inside of that glass clean. The whited sepulchres. Like when Jesus was talking to the Pharisee, he was like, y'all unto whited sepulchres. You clean the outside of the cup, but not the inside. This is what's happening with a lot of us men. We come into this truth and we clean in the outside of the cup, but we totally skip over the biblical masculinity, becoming men inside. Because I was talking to a brother last night, and I'm gonna do a whole lesson on this, but the biblical masculinity, when you clean the inside of the cup and become a biblical man, when you become stable and you become comfortable with the uncomfortable, when you become unwavering, when you're able to sit in uncomfortable situations with calm and poise and just be that real man and do the uncomfortable things like discipline your kids, stand up to your wife if she's biblically off on something, and correct her with the right amount of correction, not go all the way to the extreme. Like, this is biblical masculinity. This is the laws in the book. Like, this is part of the law, statutes, and commandments. Is your biblical role as taking control of your house and leading it. You see what I'm saying? Who care? I don't care if she wearing a dress and skirt and she be cooking up a abomination soup with shrimp, sausage, or whatever the heck is in that crap. Look, when you walk in biblical masculinity, a woman will just melt into your ways. You see what I'm saying? All that other stuff will fall in the line. But what's happening, these brothers I'm talking to that I'm counseling, I'm talking about, I said brothers. talking about dudes in camps and all that. They were pushing. They pushing the outside of the cup being clean. You know, get that, where y'all skirt at, girl? You know, don't do this, don't do that. We gotta do this on Shabbat, this, that. And the women are looking at him because the women can discern who you are as a man. And they're like, dude, you telling me to keep all these laws and you breaking the law of masculinity. So, of course, the woman going to kick against that. So get your mind right. You know, I always say that, but you got to become masculine. You got to come aligned with this Bible internally. Because that's the woman's language. That's what they look at. That's what they see. They see you wearing fringes. They see you got the fringes on. They see you observing Shabbat. You ain't eating pork. But you a macho boy inside. They're like, yeah, but he not a man. And a woman can intrinsically, a woman is designed to know whether you're a man. They're designed to know it. Like God, instinctually designed from God to know whether you're a man or not. Like even if they wanted to not see it, they'd be able to see it. Just like when you look at a woman and she got all them hips and dips and you get the naughty tingles, it's on that level. It's on the instinctual level that they can pick up on this stuff. So all that to say, a lot of dudes are like wondering, why won't she conform to this thing, man? Why won't she do what I say? Okay, I know what I need to do. I need to come even harder with it. Put that dress on, put that skirt on, stop beating that a bum. And then divorce paperwork start getting filed. You know what I'm saying? And all the whole time, what it really is that women like men. And you not really a man inside. And she like, well, I don't follow boys. I follow men. Like this is always wired up inside them from the Most High. Most High put these, part of the really reason I believe that Most High put these women in our lives is to ensure, to hold us to the standard. So if your woman is not conforming and jumping on with these laws, statutes, and commandments, it's because of that. Because what's going to happen, this is even heavier. What's going to happen is you're going to start conforming. When you start conforming to the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, your woman gets attracted to you. It builds attraction in your woman. And she's going to begin to be more attracted to you. Because women ain't attracted to a bunch of muscles and looking all super sexy and that. It ain't that. They're attracted to men. Women like men. I'm gonna back up what I'm saying with facts. Look at lesbians. Even in lesbian relationship, you got the butch and you got the you know what. Okay? One lesbian is all dressed up like a man, the other one look like a woman. So like they still a woman, a feminine woman is attracted to a masculine, even in these screwed up lesbian relationships. It's like women are attracted to men. So, and when a woman is like goo over you, she'll do whatever the heck you want. She'll come up out of that Christianity. But again, when you're walking in biblical masculinity, like this whole series is going to be about, because I'm going to go into detail into everything, then she going to be on board. She going to follow you. And like I said, one of the first areas I'm going to delve into is lust. A lot of women see men defeated by lust, porn addiction, all that. A lot of men have low self-esteem, low self-confidence. You can see the wavering in their eyes because they know they're defeated by lust and pornography. Okay? That's a big one right there. Hey, shalom, Brother Tony. Shalom, Shalom, some of y'all. I see a bunch of y'all in there. Sister Shante, she put, there's a different type of security we have when men are walking in their rightful role as a man. Shante, good point, because that reminded me. Hold on. All right. And I've seen this a lot, okay? When a man is not walking in his role, for instance, God talk about the man has to provide the affection, but also the direction and correction. Well, when the man isn't coming with the direction, and so he's not coming with the wise leadership, good decision making, well, the woman has to begin to put on the masculine role, and she can't operate in her feminine, and it's a bunch of nagging and arguing and fighting. Okay? When the man is walking in his biblical masculine role, the woman can let go into her feminine and just be a woman. And just relax and let go into the feminine, because her heart can safely trust in the way that man is walking. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, again, that is what this series is. You know what I'm saying? That's what this series is designed to do. So I done ran my mouth a bunch. Let me back what I'm saying up with some verses. Let me see. Because I talked a whole bunch. So like that brings these verses in the light that a lot of people like to say mean something else, or Paul was just talking to the church. Like the one verse Paul said, I suffer not a woman to teach nor to usurp authority over a man. And a lot of people like, well, he was talking to that church. So, and I would ask those people, so you're saying that a woman should teach and usurp authority over men? You're saying that's a good thing. And then he references that verse. He ties it to the Old Testament, to Torah. He says, because the woman was first deceived. Okay? And I mean, I'm not going into all that, but I'm just saying there's roles. And you see, y'all, I'm sure y'all dealt with me. I'm not no oppressive male chauvinistic pig, you know what I'm saying? But I do have a military mindset to the point where I know that, because this is something I say, and this is going to be heavy. I know there has to be order. If there's a natural disaster or something happened, a lot of black women and families would get killed because you got a lot of women questioning what their men tell them. They going, and a lot of men not leading and not trying to get that family in order. It's there has to be order. The woman has to see where her strengths are, and the man has to see where his strengths are, and both people got to respect them. Because if there was a natural disaster, I'm telling you, men think differently in certain situations. There's differences between men and women. There's strength and weaknesses between men and women. And I acknowledge them. My wife will tell you that Michael knows, I know where her strengths are, and she knows where my strengths are. And we meld together as a cohesive team. Koya is a very strong black woman. Okay? And I'm not like she little, but she can, she's a team, she got a team player mindset. She ain't fighting against stuff. So it's like, even when we were going up to Atlanta, there's times where I said, hey, Koya, go ahead and get over, and boom, she'll get over. Or I'll give an instruction and she trusts in me, so she'll do it. Because sometimes the instruction I'm giving, it can't be questioned. It could be a life or death situation. That's why I say, in a natural disaster, some of these women, I watch them question their men, and it could end in disaster. So we have to start getting, you know what I'm saying, in our roles. And like I said, it's just clearly outlined all through the Bible. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 23, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church. And he is the savior of the body. Okay? And because I want to teach it in a balanced way. The problem is a lot of dudes read this verse, see, woman, I'm the head of you. And it's like, no. How did Christ deal with you? How did Christ deal with Israel? You know, how patient was Christ with you when you was out there drinking, partying, and messing around with women and just wicked out there for years of your life? See, these dudes don't be thinking about that when they harping on their women. Oh, you eating that pork, you, and just bashing them in the head. Christ didn't do that to you. He just patiently waited for you to eventually come around. He know you a babe. So be patient with your women. And be the man. Like what happened with Christ? We started seeing Christ. Like I'll say with me, I can't. When I really started digging into word, I realized that Christ was telling me all this stuff he was telling me in the Bible because he was trying to prevent. I was standing on the train tracks, and a train was coming. He was trying to get me off it. You know, I was like, man, I seriously said, I was like, he really does love me. All this stuff he told me was trying to save me, you know, and I realized that in a real way. You need to be that way with your wife. You got to be patient with them if they being disobedient. But on the same note, you can't be supporting that stuff, you know, and it's a wise balance. See, the problem with a lot of these brothers that I see out here getting divorced and stuff, they lack the wisdom. They got all the knowledge and they trying to slam it into their family and all that stuff like that, but they not applying the knowledge with wisdom. Okay? So that's the heavy part. And and let's see. Husband. So here we go. This is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7. It says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So you gotta give honor to the woman as a weaker vessel. Well, what does that mean? You got to understand, and it says dwell with them according to knowledge. So that's what I just said about being wise. Understand that women are more susceptible to Satan's deception. He deceived the woman first. That's why the TV, the churches, all the stuff out there is targeted at the women. That's why there's so much woman empowerment, because they know, okay, let me lift the woman up. That's what Satan tried to do. Don't you know you could be his God? You know, he went to her and lifted her up first, because he knows if he empowers her, then he can use her to destroy everything else and mislead everything else. And that is why I have to do what I'm doing now, because what I just said is in full effect right now. Like, men don't even know how to be men. They don't know how to lead. And the families are a disaster now, because men are out of their role, and there's nobody out there even teaching the men what their role is. They're running the fathers up out the house. If the fathers are in the house, they're totally disempowered, or whatever the word is. You know, so, you know, it's a mess out there. And it's why? Because Satan always turns things perfectly upside down. Okay? Perfectly. And I promise, I don't care whether it's in the Hebrew community, because I'm telling you, dudes is getting divorced in the Hebrew community. If your wife is full in Christianity and you full in the Hebrew thing, there's still no reason for y'all to get divorced. I be telling these brothers, man, you could quickly win a woman over if you a real man in the truth. You could quickly win your woman over to this truth if you got the inside of your cup clean. Because when the inside of your cup is clean and you walking as a man, women melt on that thing. I'm telling you, all it does is creates attraction in a woman, and I'm telling you, she be all over you. But nobody's teaching this. Let me tell you, because this is even heavier. I came into all this, the reason why I'm so knowledgeable in relationships and I see where it's at all through the Bible is because before I came into this truth, I studied relationships from the world, teachers in the world, but it was half-truths. And then when I got into the truth and got into the Bible, I realized it wasn't being taught anywhere. So it's like, you know, and I wouldn't recommend studying this stuff that they're teaching in the world, because now, like, because I follow some of these people that teach this relationship stuff just so I could stay up to date on how it's evolving, because it changes and it's wicked now. Like they got this relationship stuff they're teaching men. They done got it so narrowed down where if a woman isn't grounded in the truth, she gonna get deceived and it's gonna be sad. But I kind of got off. But anyway, it's like this thing isn't getting taught anywhere. I hear there's people out there breaking the Bible down in the Hebrew and coming twisting things upside down, where God made it plainly obvious, where there's no way you could get around it, that, like, here's a real good simple one. God's Jesus's relationship to Israel is a model, or marriage is a model of, you know, the man's relationship to the woman is a model of Jesus's relationship to Israel. So if you're a man or if you're a woman, you want to know, is your man right, or is this the right man? Look at how Christ treated Israel. If you want to know if the man's, if you got the right man, all that stuff, does he line up with the way Christ dealt with Israel? Was he patient with him? Now, when they needed discipline, did he discipline them? You know what I'm saying? So that's a good model of, you know, how you need to be. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap this lesson up. Like I said, it's going to, now the coming lessons, because again, I'm just kind of painting a broad intro to what we're going to be talking about. But in the coming lessons, they're going to be a lot more direct and topic based. Okay, a lot more structured, a lot of verses. You know what I'm saying? Where, because I'm going to back up everything I said, and I'm telling y'all, question everything I said. Question it. And if y'all got questions, I'm not going to get mad. If you say, Mike, you off. I think what you saying, you just favoring it. Bring it out. I won't get mad. I welcome it. It's encouraged, because I want to make sure y'all understand exactly what I'm saying. I don't like just blah, blah talking. I like getting straight to the point. So, but yeah, it's going to be a lot more verse laden with Bible scripture. And I want you to question everything I'm saying. And I want you, at the end of the day, I just want to see folks get their relationships right and stuff like that. Because I'm telling you, it's bad out there. I hear it firsthand. That it's a desert out there for this information that's so obvious in the Bible. And why? Because Satan, again, he feminizing everything. You know, he doing the exact same thing he did in the garden. And, you know, what cuts through it is pure truth, not beating around the bush. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap this lesson up. If y'all got any questions, put it in the comments. You know, hit me up. Like I said, and that sister, if you got any more questions, just if I didn't answer your question good enough, the sister that messaged me yesterday, I'll go in and answer it better. Let me see if there's anything. Okay, so I think I'm good there. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap this up. Y'all have a good day and shalom.